Well, new at 6, how hot is too hot to survive without air conditioning here in Arizona? State regulators are trying to answer that question after a Valley woman's death last year was linked to APS shutting off her power, but proposed new rules might not have saved her anyway. Team 12's Bram Resnick is in the Live Alert Center tonight to explain why. Bram?
Yeah, those new rules on power shutoffs could be a matter of life and death. We've learned that in just the last few days, proposed changes to those rules would let power companies shut off your electricity in triple-digit heat. Stephanie Pullman's home in Sun City West was a death trap. She'd fallen behind on electric bills. APS shut off her power when temperatures were in the hundreds.
Can't shut off someone's electric at 107-degree temperature on an elderly woman.
The county medical examiner ruled Pullman's death a year ago was caused in part by heat exposure. Pressed to respond, the watchdogs we elect to oversee APS swung into action. Arizona Corporation Commission files show that on August 30th, staffers proposed blocking power shutoffs when temperatures climb above 95 degrees. More than 3 weeks later, just this past Monday, an APS lobbyist raised questions about that threshold. On Thursday, Corporation Commission staffers raised the threshold. Utilities could cut off power until temperatures topped 105 degrees. That 10-degree difference could be a matter of life or death. Research on Maricopa County's heat-related deaths since 2006 shows 30% occurred when temperatures were 105 degrees or lower. 70% when temps were higher than 105. APS wrangled with state regulators over new shutoff rules at a recent hearing. But APS Chief Don Brandt wouldn't answer questions about what happened to Stephanie Pullman. APS and her family reached a confidential settlement. Brandt's lawyer deflected the questions.
We're crossing the line into an area where we don't need to.
An APS and Corporation Commission spokespeople didn't respond to requests for comment. The Corporation Commission holds a meeting Monday to discuss the shutoff rules. Live in the Alert Center, Bram Resnick, 12 News.
Bram, thank you.